Hey guys, I'm Pixel Dan, and this is a review of the Voltron Classics Blue Lion with Princess Allura. So we're getting closer and closer to being able to build that massive Voltron. Now we've got the right leg and its royal pilot. The Blue Lion comes in the same window box packaging that we've seen with all of the other lions so far. This one is the same size as the box that the yellow lion was housed inside of. It fully showcases the Blue Lion within, along with some beautiful watery artwork in the background. The back of that box gives us a look at the Blue Lion and its features, tells us that Princess Allura is its driver, and shows that the Blue Lion connects as the right leg on the fully formed Voltron. Princess Allura, the pilot of the Blue Lion, comes in her own box just like all of the other pilots. It features some artwork on the front from the classic animated series, along with a window showcasing the figure within. The back of her box shows off the figure and accessories, along with an incorrectly colored pink key, and it tells us that she is the driver of the Blue Lion. So we'll go ahead and start things off by taking a look at that Princess Allura action figure. The first and only female figure in the line is done in the same style as the rest of the pilots. Even though she drives the Blue Lion, her costume is white and pink. She's another example of the pilots not necessarily matching the color of their lions in this classic series. The paint job is nice, though it's not overly detailed. The best detailing on the figure is in the insignia on her chest, which is nicely done. The figure has a gray holster with a blaster sculpted in it at her side, just like all of the other pilots. Now, the blaster is non-removable, and I'll repeat again that I really wish that it was. It'd be really great to be able to give these pilots a weapon to hold on to. Her head sculpt features bright blonde hair and really wide open eyes. It's a decent representation of the animated version of Allura, but it does look like she's always surprised the way her eyes are so wide open like that. Alright, so let's take a closer look at the first female in the line, Princess Allura. Now, Allura, even though she's the first one with a female buck, she's still styled exactly the same way as all of the other pilots in this line, so her articulation works identically. So the head is able to turn left and right. You've got the ball hinge joints at the shoulders there, allowing the arms to go straight out and then move forward, backward. You've got a single joint in the elbow there, as well as a little swivel right above the elbow joint. You've got a waist turn articulation right there. The legs are able to go outwards in a split motion and go forwards and backwards pretty nicely. You've got a swivel right above the knee and then a knee bend, but then no other articulation underneath the knee there. So it's a decent amount. Like I said, it's exactly the same as we've already seen with all of the other pilots, so we already know what to expect here. Now, one of the other things she's got going for that's the same as the others is the interchangeable head. You can just pop off her current unhelmeted head. You can see she's got the peg that's attached to the body there. It's got the little ball joint on the top. We can take her helmeted head, pop that one on in its place. You can hear it real nice and tight, snaps on in place. You don't have to worry about it falling off. And we got ourselves a helmeted head Princess Allura. With her helmet on, the visor does give her some bug eyes, so it is a little off looking. Now, just a quick note, the ball joints on each of the pilots' heads are different sizes, so swapping heads doesn't necessarily work too well. I'm not sure why you'd really want to swap Allura's head onto one of the other bodies anyway, but it is rather humorous looking. Now, she also includes the key to the Blue Lion, which, as you can see on mine, is missing the sticker on the top that it's supposed to include all of those color details. Hopefully this is not an issue on every Allura.
The key can be used to open the cockpit on the Blue Lion, which I'll show you later on, but can also double as a figure stand for Allura, which I really like. She also includes the hilt piece of the blazing sword accessory. You can combine this with all of the pieces that have come with all of the other pilots, and this will form the full blazing sword for Voltron to hold on to. In addition, she also has this little clear stand. It looks like another figure will also come with one of these stands, so that you'll be able to use this to display the blazing sword on your shelf if you're not going to use it in Voltron's hands. Since Voltron is going to come with another version of the sword that does not have this electricity wrapped around it, I really like that Mattel is giving us a means to still display that alternate sword. Alright guys, it's comparison time. Here's Princess Allura standing alongside the vintage figure from Panache Place. The scales are similar, but you can see the huge difference in sculpt. Here she is alongside the third dimension version from Trendmasters. This version was released in the 1990s and changed the color of her uniform to blue to match her lion. And here she is alongside the stealth version from the third dimension line, also released by Trendmasters in the 90s. Alright, so now that we've seen Allura, let's get to what you guys really want to take a look at. The Blue Lion. Now if you already have the Yellow Lion, which I hope you do if you're planning to build Voltron, then you pretty much know exactly what to expect here. Since the Blue and Yellow Lions are Voltron's legs, they are built the same as one another. There are some differences in design of the Blue Lion, however. Blue does include its own unique head sculpt, and the design of the body is also slightly different from Yellow. The colors are all very bright and the paint job is very clean. By now we all know that there are a lot of details lacking on these lions. The legs are a whitish gray color. In the past, all Voltron toys usually have shiny metallic silver legs. The gray is meant to be more cartoon accurate. In fact, cartoon accuracy is what Mattel really seems to be going for in these lions, and that is why there are a lot of details missing. The Blue Lion's head is where most of the detail is missing. The previous toys for the Blue Lion also had a lot more designs going on in the head, and you'll really get a chance to see that later on during comparison time.
Alright, let's go ahead and take a closer look at the Blue Lion. The Blue Lion, the right leg of Voltron. Here we go. Alright, so the articulation is very similar to the Yellow Lion. So if you've already got the Yellow Lion, which I hope you do if you're buying this one, you already know pretty much what to expect with this guy here. So let's take a closer look. The head is able to rock both left and right, and the mouth on there is able to open and close, and it is real tight. You can kind of hear how it clicks. So it's real solid. You can see how I kind of lifted his head up. Because he turns into the foot, his head is able to lift up. And it kind of has a click point halfway through, so you can kind of get that mid pose, almost like he's kind of howling. Then you can pick it all the way up, and we've got ourselves the position for the head. So the legs are able to articulate forward on the front, and you can hear how they're doing all that clicking, so all the joints are real tight, they lock really good. You can move the front legs forward and backward really nicely. They bend at the knees really well moving forward, and then the ankles are able to bend as well, so you can position them however you need to get them stand properly. The back legs kind of have that same problem with all the lions. You kind of have to get them straight up and down. For a standing pose, that's really the only thing you're going to get out of that. The knees are able to bend backwards a little bit, but once they hit a certain point, then you've got that spring-loaded mechanism that flips them back outwards. But the ankles on the paws there, they still work the same way, so they're nice and tight. Now, one of the things you can do with this, just like with the other lions, is you can still get that legs outwards and backwards, so you can get that cool flying pose, like they're flying up to form Voltron. I do think that is really cool that we can pose them that way. In fact, these would look great if we can get some stands and pose them like that, flying on your shelf. That would be sweet. Alright, and then the tail. One thing about the tail on this lion as opposed to like the green lion and the red lion is he doesn't really have the spring feature. So you can see it's much more posable. We can move it around. It's got a double joint in the middle. So however we want to pose the tail, it'll actually stay there. It doesn't flip out like on the other lions. Now let's go ahead and show how he transforms into the leg. It's just like with the other ones. All you got to do is just fold the legs up and they kind of just click into place. They lock in. Legs lock up forward there, lock forward, and then we bring the head up, lock that in place, and then there's this extra piece in the back that folds all the way down to kind of work as a base to help keep Voltron standing. And now we've got ourselves the foot, the leg for Voltron, ready to go. And you can see the back here does have like a trap door, which you can see is probably where the black lion's legs will plug into to form the leg on Voltron there. Now, the thing that these guys all have is this auto transformation feature. It's an action feature that flips them back to normal lion mode, and that's of course is why they've got all of those spring-loaded mechanisms in the legs and everything. So when you're ready to do that, all you gotta do is flip that back heel piece up. There's this large blue button on the underside, so when you press that, the legs, the head, everything flips back down in the lion mode, and then you can just fold the tail out yourself. Now, I know I've brought this up in every one of my reviews of these, but I do still want to point out that one of my big fears is that with these spring-loaded mechanisms, it's going to be real easy to pop those out of place. That button is huge, and it's real easy to hit that button, and it's not going to be fun when you're trying to play with your fully assembled Voltron and you have to worry about all the lion legs popping out, but I do think that's something that is going to be happening. Now, the last thing I want to do is I want to bring up the yellow lion for comparison here. You can see that both of these are about the same size, but the build is slightly different. They have different designs entirely. You can see their backs are different, the heads are shaped different, but all of the articulation and the functionality is exactly identical between the two, so both of them work the same way. Now, this will be fun. This is something that we got to do because, oh, we're getting so close to being able to build that gigantic Voltron. So let's get both of these guys and their legs. The yellow lion train. Oh, see, I'm hitting that button on the bottom. It's too easy to do. All right. Fold up the yellow lion here. Ba-boom. Ba-boom. Do I have the legs right? You know what? It doesn't matter right now. If they're backwards, somebody will tell me. I'm just doing this to show things off. Look at this, guys. Look. All we need is the black lion. We've got arms. We've got legs. All we need is the black lion. I'll form the head. Look at that, though. Look at the size of this thing. You can tell how big this dude's going to be. I cannot wait for that black lion.
So posing is limited with these, of course, but you can still get some fun poses out of them, including this neat sitting howling pose. I don't know why a Voltron lion would be howling like a wolf, but it's still a fun pose to pull off. As an accessory, the blue lion includes its own unique mouth dagger piece. Now, just like all of the other lions, this can be snapped between the teeth on the blue lion, and he actually holds onto it pretty firmly. Alright guys, it's comparison time! Here's the new blue lion standing alongside the vintage blue lion from Panache Place. Now, this version also includes an opening cockpit that figures can sit inside, so they are very similar in that regard. Here's Blue standing alongside the Trendmasters version from the 90s, which is much smaller than this newer version. And here's the Blue Lion standing with the awesome Toynami version. You may have noticed some differences in the head that I mentioned earlier, but you can really see it in comparison with the Toynami version here. The new Mattel one is completely lacking that intricate detail seen on the top of the head on the Toynami version, and I'm actually really sad to see that go. So there you go, guys, a look at the right leg of Voltron and its pilot. While I do still have my issues with some things like the action features on the legs, I have to admit that I am still very excited about building the full Voltron, and it's almost time. Here's some more fun though. If you have the vintage Castle of Lions from Panache Place, the lions look great posed outside of it. Even better, if you open it up with the pilots, they work very well on the inside. So there are a lot of great display opportunities here. The Blue Lion is part of the Club Lion Force subscription from MattyCollector.com and will also be available on August 15th, 2012. Until next time!